The P-51 Mustang was a warhorse for the Allies in World War II and also provided bomber assistance for both the Pacific and European theaters. But what if I were to tell you that there are pieces of that history in Star Wars? Let's talk about that on the next Vintage Retrospect. Hello, I'm your host Chad and this is Vintage Retrospect, a vintage plane video on a channel about rockets? What's up with that? I'm going to be honest, it's not anything to do with spaceflight. Or is it? What does Star Wars have to do with the P-51 Mustang? If you're not familiar with this plane, let's first break down the high-level specs, the importance of the P-51 and its role in World War II. It was designed and built in only 102 days. The power plant in this beast was a 12-cylinder Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. Could it be possible that SpaceX Falcon 9 Merlin 1D's engine was named after the P-51's engine? Also, considering that the P-51D variant had a letter D on the end just like the rocket engine? Let me know in the comments if that's just a weird coincidence. One thing to consider here is that the engine also had a variant called the Allison. This was only on certain planes. The armament on this plane was 6 50 caliber machine guns, 3 mounted on each wing, concealed perfectly. You can only see the muzzle circles barely sticking out of the wings here. The wings could only hold about 50 to 150 pound bombs and fuel drop tanks that held 108 gallons of extra fuel for bombing ranges. These drop tanks extended journeys for about up to 2,000 miles. The bombs and drop tanks used a series of 4 mounting pylons. The wings could also hold up to 4 to 5 missiles on each side. They could mix and match the missile count with the use of 1 bomb or drop tank. This plane took no part in the war with the Rebels and Empire in Star Wars. However, the first Red leader was actually a P-51 pilot in the World War. This call sign was originally used in bombing campaigns for both the Europe and Pacific sides of the war. The bearer to that call sign was a fighter pilot named George Loving Jr. He served as a commander for the Air Force after 1943. He flew 151 combat missions and became a fighter ace after shooting down 5 enemy aircraft and damaging 2 others. So now that I did a plane video, was it something you expected? Did you learn something new today about the P-51 than you did yesterday? Subscribe and let me know in the comments your thoughts. Now before I go, I would invite you all to visit my other channel, Orbital Edge News. I'll link that at the end of the video. In there I do all things modern space, so no spaceflight history there, but I do cover the spaceflight news there, and I have a full studio setup to do so. With that said, I'm your host Chad, and I will see you out on the launch pad.